I decided to teach because I really want to make a difference in children's lives.
I know a lot of adults will say kids never know when they're ready.
Learners don't want our opinion.
I don't think a lot of learners take the subject seriously.
I was taught that sex gives you AIDS.
I knew that sex was a bad thing to do.
We grew up knowing it is taboo to talk about it.
We were a bit shy to hold each other's hand or to kiss each other.
A teacher needs to remember that this child needs support.
Over 1/3 of the population who are infected with HIV every year are between the ages of 15 and 24. With 380,000 new infections every year, this gives us a staggering number of youth who are diagnosed HIV positive annually. In 2013 alone, 120,000 adolescents died from HIV-related illnesses, with TB being the leading cause. Who will be our future doctors, our lawyers, our engineers? Who will grow our economy and fight for radical change if you, our youth, and the future of our country are perishing? What will be left of our legacy? Welcome to Breaking the Silence. I'm Dineo Ranaga, and today we're giving our panel of learners the platform to discuss how they would like to be taught about the risk factors which predispose them to TB and HIV infection, because prevention is always better than cure. Our expert today is Dr. Tlaleng Mofokeng, who specializes in youth sexuality and reproductive education. She'll be seated backstage alongside our panel of educators.
Hi, my name is Jan van der Schuyf. I've been teaching for 7 years. I currently teach grade 9, 10, 11 and 12 life orientation.
My name is Nkosi Mpile Xemba. I'm a teacher in Kelekizo Comprehensive High School, which is based in Meadowlands Zone 9 in Soweto.
My name is Mpule Maria Mautla. I'm from Irene Middle Farm School. I'm currently teaching grade 7 and 8. Life orientation.
Teaching LO, it's more about getting to understand the learners, because that is the only subject where learners can feel free to talk about any other issues.
I like life orientation because it teaches learners about life skills.
I like the fact that you get to know your students on a more personal level. You get to know what their issues are, what they face, and how to change that, and how to empower your children to live better lives.
Today, our panel of learners are Stefina, Junior, Leandre, Masejo, Atina, Bongani. Thank you so much for taking time to join us on Breaking the Silence to chat about relationships and diseases. So we're going to watch a clip that I found for us, and once we're done watching it, we're going to talk about how we feel and what we think around the subject. Let's take a look.
I was in matric with this beautiful girl. So we decided we were going to skip school, and we've already decided that we were going to have sex. I was a virgin, so she wasn't a virgin. So I had condoms with me, but I didn't really know how to use it. I didn't want to seem like somebody who didn't know what to do and how to use a condom, so I ended up not using it because I was afraid to actually say I do not know how to use it. I remember at night I used to sweat a lot, and I used to tell my mom about this, and my mom was like, well, go to the clinic and maybe you contracted TB. I remember my very first thoughts when the nurse told me that I was HIV positive. I'm too young for this. You know, when you're young, you kind of think that HIV is for old people. I'm not gonna get HIV, you know? I felt as if I had let down my family, I had let down myself, and I felt as if this is going to be the end for me, and a lot of confusion as well.
Sure. Yeah. Deep, eh?
Yeah.
Young, was afraid to seem like he didn't know how to use a condom, had sex without a condom, contracted HIV. It's that simple.
Yes.
It's that easy, it's that quick. What do you know about STDs and STIs? What's the difference between an STD and STI?
Infection is minor, unlike a disease. Well, an infection you can take probably antibiotics. Most of the time they usually take antibiotics, and for diseases you have to go for constant checkups, pills and all those things. So it's actually more complicated than an infection.
What STIs do you know of?
Gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea?
chlamydia.
Yeah, it's right. It's chlamydia.
Chlamydia?
Herpes, yeah.
Herpes?
Also herpes.
How do STDs and STIs increase the chances of HIV?
When you get STD or STI, you got bacteria in you. You have bacteria, so each time you're moving to another partner, that increases the chance of getting HIV.
HIV as a disease, do you think it's a disease for old people, or do you see it as close as I can also contract it?
Normally when we talk about it, it seems as if it's adult.
Yeah, it's adult related, it's not for youth.
It's only a few that will be born with it.
You can be born with HIV. Sometimes you can catch it while doing sexual intercourse. So I don't think that there should be an age group where you should be HIV and not.
Because he believed that HIV is for old people. Because, you know, sometimes we see things from a distance and we're like, it'll never happen to me.
It was during high school, and we always looked at it, yeah, it won't happen to me, and diseases, yeah, it's just something that you know about. After having training in SLPs and how to teach children about these issues, my eyes opened up even more to realize what the youth needs and what detrimental issues that we are facing currently.
Sometimes it's because of lack of knowledge. He thought that it's for older people, whilst he didn't know that it's for everyone. Everyone can get HIV.
Why is it important to get HIV testing regularly if you're sexually active?
Because you gotta know your status. If you don't know your status, how can you live healthy? You gotta know if you're HIV negative or positive.
I've come across people who have told me that they don't care about getting AIDS anymore. You know, AIDS is no longer something that is going to like scare you, because then you're gonna die on either day.
Sure. That's a dangerous way to think. You're shaking your head, ma'am.
You're not always gonna die. You can get treatment. Ungakwazi ukuphila isikhathi eside, because like udla ama-fruity, udla maybe ama-vegetables, udla healthy, and then you get to jog or something like that.
To prolong your life.
Yeah.
There is ways. You can change your ways of living, live a healthier lifestyle and prolong your life. So Usimiso, on our clip, he thought that he had TB. And then when he went to the clinic, to the doctor to go get tested, he then discovered that he's got HIV. Do you guys understand the link between TB and HIV? Do you know anything about it?
Okay, I've heard that when you are HIV positive, it's easier for you to contract TB, since I think it's because your immune system is weak.
I was fascinated about how they open up about things that I never thought they knew.
So if I have TB, does it mean I have HIV?
No.
If I have HIV, does it mean I have TB?
No.
Okay.
Some people feel like, no, I'm not HIV because I'm not sweating or something like that. They're waiting for the symptoms to come up, then they'll be like, oh, maybe I am HIV.
Maybe I am, let me rush. How does TB spread? What do you understand?
I think it's a cough or something.
Yes.
Or sneeze.
Yeah,
or
when you
sneeze.
cough.
And you
And
inhale that sneeze.
So what's that called? Airborne?
Yeah.
Yeah? So preventative measures.
If you're infected with TB, you should cough in your arm like this.
Why not in your hand like this?
Because you go around handshaking, hi.
There you go, Bluetooth high five.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then someone else can catch it just like that.
One of you mentioned opening windows.
Yeah. Yes, it was him.
Yeah? What do you understand about that? Why open windows?
Yeah,
why ventilate?
Uthenga spray like endlini, like ivalele kumele ukuthi ivuleke maqedwe iphume.
It's winter season. It's very cold.
Kumele avuleke ama window. Kumele avuleke ama window.
No ventilation. When I no ventilation, when I yes ventilation.
You will be able to concentrate when it's cold.
Okay, when you go to TB.
They can wear. Well, they can wear a scarf around their faces or something like that.
You are a meme. I need to take a picture of your face. On that note, we'll be right back. Let's take a break.
I went out the clinic and it was very emotional. And the questions started being asked. Questions if I knew who gave it to me or how I contracted it. And to be honest, I didn't know how to answer those questions because I didn't know. My life orientation teacher was an old Indian lady, so I couldn't really approach her. Now we have this close to 60-year-old person teaching you this. So it's kind of really hard to come to them and tell them about your sexual fantasies and your ideas and your worries as well. So somebody who has a good understanding with kids should be given that subject, you know, somebody who kids can relate to. And I think it should be also not in a way of just teaching people, let's make it in a conversation-based kind of a curriculum. If you think about it, if you've never driven a car in your life and somebody comes to you and gives you a car and tells you, take it and drive, you've never been really showed how to you don't know the rules of the road, you're gonna cause an accident. And the accidents in this case would be contracting HIV and getting pregnant or impregnating somebody. So let's not only tell kids to use condoms, let's also show them how to use condoms so that when they get into that situation where they are wanting to having sex or they are going to have sex, that they know what to do. If you have made the decision that you want to have sex, you can condomize, get information, teach yourself about correct condom usage, contraceptives, and HIV testing so that you always know your status at all times.
So now, does the education in school empower you guys to prevent yourselves from risky sexual behavior and also to prevent HIV?
From my school, teachers don't tell us about like you should use condoms and tell us the safetyness of sex. Like, for example, bring condoms, bring the pills, bring things that we can prevent. Like diseases and
so you're
things.
saying the teachers you would prefer if the teachers brought those things into class?
Yes.
So you get familiar with them?
Yeah.
You need to take the bull by the horns and literally show them how to use a condom, how a contraceptive pill looks like.
Teaching Elena how to use a condom. We don't have those skills as educators.
In the question papers, when we're writing exams, they ask us questions that they do not tell us about.
So you don't get taught the things in class, but you get asked these questions in your exams.
Yes.
So how do you answer?
We just have to, like, when people talk about those diseases, when you write your exam, you just think back and you just
think back to the internet as a point of
Yes, to
reference.
the internet and how people were talking about these diseases.
Sure.
Sometimes they go an extra mile of checking the internet. It makes me feel bad because of you don't see yourself when you talk to Lena. Sometimes you think you're open enough, but at the same time you're not.
Nangicobuza something.
Yes.
Like uthe like ukusebenzisa i-condom yasaba ngithi like uyifaka.
Bekangazi ukuthi ifakwa kanjani.
Unabangani bekumele cela abangani ukuthi ma-chance ifake kanjani i-condom or maybe usaba lento ukuthi bazomhleya kazi yabo.
Usaba lento leyo.
I think that's where the problem starts. Friends, the knowledge that you get from friends, sometimes friends can mislead you.
It's true.
Uneducated
Giving
advice.
also others.
Yeah.
It's good that they feel they can talk to each other, but then maybe we should be doing more of a peer education thing to support them.
So I think maybe at schools, they should maybe do a group, men talk, women talk, girls talk, you know, and they can teach us about using a condom. Not only we can teach ourselves using a condom on the pecs, no, but they should also teach us like that.
At school?
Yeah.
I'm Maseho. I'm in grade 11. I'm 16 years old. I'm a guy who just likes sitting in the house, listening to music, playing video games, studying, Living in Mamelodi sometimes is bad because there's a lot of noise here in a bad way. Sometimes I cannot focus on my studies. Me and my mom, we have that friendship relationship. She tells me about sexuality. When Somiso said that he didn't know how to use a condom, I was thinking that, is this guy really that old? Because it's written on the back. There's some pictures showing you how to put on a condom. I'm only 16, but I know how to put on a condom. And I feel like a man's condom is easy to use than a woman's condom,
Nyamzweli?
Nomzweli.
Umzweli. Why? So when condom uyakwazi ukuthi isebenziswa kanjani?
Ngiyakwazi.
Uyaspanisa?
Ngiyaspanisa.
Yeah.
Ngicela ukubuza ukuthi what if a girlfriend yakho she like, oh, you're gonna use a condom, So like, please, mina angifuni.
Ufakile pressure ukuthi akafuni wena usebenzise condom.
Exactly. And then yena she got more experience than you do. Wenzani isikhathi so.
Companies nga heavy sex.
Nazo?
Yes, very right. Some people have a lot of ego. Then the guy be like, okay, fine, let's just do it. Thinking, okay, I'm gonna be a laughing stock, so let me just go with the flow and do it without a condom because he doesn't want his ego to be ruined.
I think they are aware of sexually transmitted diseases and also how they can be infected, but at the same time, they think that they cannot be infected, but other people can be infected, somebody next door, but not them.
Usimiso says, like a 60-year-old lady teaching me, hello, oh my gosh, my world's ending, how am I going to ask her questions? Do you feel that age in your educators plays a big part?
Yes, it
in your
does.
LO educators?
I say no.
I like the no. Let's start with the no.
It's not their age that makes them untouchable, in a sense. I feel like it's their approach. Because now you can't blame her age, because she has experience.
She got life experience, right?
Exactly. She wants to express it and share this experience.
Age doesn't really matter. It depends on the kind of personality your teacher has. If she's bubbly, she's kind, she's open during lessons, and she doesn't just snap at anything that you say, she's very understanding and she can put herself in your shoes during lessons in class, then you know that, no, man, I can actually speak to my teacher about this and that. I shouldn't be afraid. And then it will be much more easier for you to go to him or her and ask them about your personal questions.
Give them opportunity to speak their mind in a classroom environment, in a discussion forum. If they are scared of that, give them opportunity. Give a Pandora's box where they can drop a letter in it anonymously and you can address it later on.
You do know that your educators are sitting in another room, listening, watching. Are you ready to take this conversation to the next level with them?
Yes.
Let's do it. We're joined now by our educators as well as Dr. Tlaleng. And I'm very interested to find out from our educators, what challenges do you face when it comes to teaching your learners about HIV, AIDS, TB, STDs, STIs?
I would think it's a thing that we are unskilled or we are uneducated about those things ourselves with a lack of knowledge, and then we need to teach our students something that we seldomly know a lot of info about.
We need health professionals that can help us, also as teachers. We have little information, so if we answer, we have questions posed to us, we answer them vaguely.
How do we then create a better environment to give teachers the right support tools so they can educate their learners better?
And that speaks mostly to the content of the teacher training colleges and universities, because this also has to form part of what they are being taught as undergraduates before they can even qualify as teachers, and to supplement that knowledge and education with continuous professional development for teachers. And especially because now we're only focusing on HIV as one of the most important STIs, but there's also others.
It's alarming for me that the kids are going to the internet to learn about HIV, AIDS, STDs, STIs. Big red flags.
The internet may mislead us, but when the teachers start talking about this sex stuff, as students I have observed that we judge her like, ooh, she knows a lot. Maybe she does it every time. That's the thing I've observed.
Nice
as
honesty.
Students, yeah.
Where do we find it in ourselves as educators, including parents? What would you change about yourself and the way you teach in classrooms so that your learners feel more comfortable and that our children feel more comfortable to say, Mom, I was on the internet and I read this, that and the other about HIV. Did you know this?
It's important that, we see sexuality education as a continuous thing. You don't just have it once off and that's it. So I often say to parents, if you are uncertain about anything, or you think even your child is watching pornography on the internet, because it's not only about HIV, you know, how do you then start that conversation? So I think parents should, and teachers should be more confident to say, you know what, I'm also not sure, but let's go find out together. And you make that part of bonding. You make part of, you know, opening doors that were perhaps shut before.
I think we need to grow a culture of honesty between parents and students, where a student can freely go to their parents and discuss these type of things.
We mustn't also forget that the background that we come from, where sexuality is taboo, that we cannot talk about it in public.
This thing is a problem. It keeps on coming up in every conversation, that culture hinders how we express and how we educate.
Okay. And secondly, we have sexuality in LO and also in natural science. But now it is just a little time is allocated to it. I suggest that if maybe we can have sexuality education as part of the subjects, just like life science, physical science, maths, and so on. So let it not be just a part of it, which comes only in one term.
It's not considered an important subject. Your maths teachers or your language teachers will steal your time. Can we just ask the life orientation people if we can take these children, they need to write a test in that period? So we are robbed of teaching our children.
Sure. Do the learners have a right to say no?
Yes.
We don't want to leave the LO class. Actually, hold up a second. We're learning how to be good human beings here.
Yeah.
As much as it's important to learn how to understand maths and practice it and become a lawyer, a doctor, a president one day, but I also just want to be that human being who understands themselves in becoming that lawyer, in becoming that doctor.
We are supposed to have that right, but then in our schools we don't. Our voices are not heard. Basically, the teachers think that we are just learners, we should follow their rules. So actually, our voices don't matter.
They think that we go to LO to have a party or something, but we're actually there to get educated.
Yes.
They think that we just go there to sit around and chat with our friends and things.
Me as an educator always felt the students don't know the problems that we face, and yet they feel exactly the same way as the educators.
We're taking light something that is so important. Dr. Tlaling, what are our solutions?
The person in the insert was explaining on how they knew about condoms, but they didn't know how to use it. And the fear came in. And a lot of people are making decisions based on fear.
Yeah.
And, you know, they are not informed, they're not empowering decisions. And I think it's important to get the collaborations between the departments. So, you know, get the young qualified nursing, sisters to make those visits to the school. So we need to really have an attitude and overhaul, all of us, that's more enabling and really affirming of young people's sexuality, because they are undergoing very natural stage of life, but how do we assist them into transitioning from childhood into adulthood safely? And I think that's what we all need to be working towards.
I have a feeling that if we showed more interest and we prioritize life orientation more, we would begin to slowly and gradually see a decrease in most of our social statistics that fall on the negative side of the fence. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time. This was a beautiful conversation. I feel empowered. I feel enlightened. I feel like there's so much work to be done, and we begin with ourselves. Thank you very much. Educators, respect life orientation as a subject, stay informed and use the internet to get current information. Parents, teach children to protect themselves from sexual risks. Learners, actively participate in LO classes. In 2013, TB was identified as the most common cause of death in South Africa, with education in schools informing the most influential time in the lives of our youth. It makes sense that we would want to give them the information they need for staying healthy. Now that we know how our learners want to be taught in life orientation, it is our responsibility as their leaders to honor our promise to them. Make sure to tune in next week for another episode of Breaking the Silence.